If you're just starting out as a bookkeeper, it's probably overwhelming, and I would recommend not offering every single thing in the world. So I have 3 different levels of bookkeeper tasks, and I would recommend if you're just starting out, start with level 1, and then you can kind of work up to levels 2 and 3 as you get more experience. My name is Morgan from FinePoints.biz. I have a free masterclass and checklist you can definitely check out, and please subscribe to my channel if you are interested in a bookkeeper video every week. All right, so level 1, the easiest things that you can start out with clients if you're just starting as a bookkeeper is categorizing, reconciling, and sending reports. Those 3 things you can definitely figure out. I would say a lot of business owners, if they're starting out and they don't want to hire a bookkeeper yet, they will do those things by themselves to start out. So with just a little bit of training and know-how as a bookkeeper, you can definitely offer those services to clients. So just a brief overview of each of those things. You want to hook up your client's bank account in the bank feeds section, and then all of their expenses and income is going to feed in through the bank feeds. And then it's your job to categorize each of those things so that they can get the right amount of deductions at tax time and things go in the right categories on their tax return. So the types of expenses you're probably going to be seeing are probably some kind of utilities, maybe a phone bill, water bill, rent if they have an office space. You'll probably see some kind of supplies depending on what kind of business it is. So maybe office supplies, or if they are selling some kind of product, whatever. You know, if it's like a t-shirt business, then they're gonna have ink and they're gonna have t-shirts and whatever else they need. Maybe some marketing, and payroll is a big one also if they have employees, which payroll is a little bit level 2 and 3, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. And then same with income, they could have income from different sources that they want to track and put into different categories, or they might just want all their income lumped together. And all of these categories are contained in the chart of accounts. I do have a video that's an introduction to the chart of accounts. The thumbnail looks like this, so you can check that out after you watch this video. So at the end of the month, after you've categorized everything, you are going to want to reconcile the bank account. So that involves getting the bank statement from their bank. Sometimes QuickBooks will feed it in depending on the bank. Otherwise, you'll have to go and download it from the bank website. And then you look and see what the ending balance is. So if you're doing January, you're going to look and see what the ending balance is from the bank statement on January 30th. And then you're going to plug that into the reconcile area of QuickBooks. And you're going to make sure all the transactions in QuickBooks match all the transactions on the bank statement, and you have the exact same ending balance. So that is categorizing, reconciling, and then you're going to want to send your client a month-end report. So usually it's a profit and loss statement, a balance sheet, and then there could be special reports that they also want to see. So there's a section in QuickBooks for reports, and you can email these pretty easily to clients that way. So hopefully if you're just starting out and you're super overwhelmed by all the bookkeeper tasks, that is a really simple way to be like, okay, I'm just going to focus on these 3 things. These are the essentials that my client is going to need, especially if it's a smaller client. I have a video called the 30 best clients to start out with or something like that. The thumbnail looks like that. But that are my tips for businesses that might be a little more simplified, especially if it's a newer business or like a solopreneur, or, you know, if they just have 1 or 2 people working in the business. And I do have a ton of videos that are on the topic of like, are you ready? Do you feel ready to be a bookkeeper? How do I get experience? What do I say if I don't feel like I have that much experience? So I'm going to link as many of those videos as I can in the description box, so you can check those out after you watch this video. All right, level 2. If you kind of have those basic things down, I would start with these next things in level 2. All right, so the main ideas for this section is AP and AR, which is accounts payable and accounts receivable, paying bills and invoicing your clients. And then in addition to those things, I put cleanup under level 2 as well. And that has like a little asterisk beside it because cleanup might be necessary at any of these levels, and it can be a challenge, and it does really vary from client to client. So cleanup can mean a few things. It could be that your client, the owner, has been doing the books and they made some mistakes along the way, and there were a few things that they were forgetting. Maybe they weren't reconciling all year, but they were pretty good about categorizing, so that would hopefully not take you too long to fix. So you could just start with January and start reconciling January, then February, then March, and so on, depending, until you get current. A lot of the problems I tend to see are with invoicing. So if your client wants to send invoices through QuickBooks, it seems kind of straightforward, but then there's a few steps that people sometimes forget. So I'm not going to go super into cleanups in this video. I have partnered with Veronica Wasek before, so I'm going to leave her class in the description box, a link to it. And she is pretty good about cleanups, and she's good at explaining how to do it and like kind of a step-by-step process of what to look for. So check her class out if you're interested. I just kind of learned how to clean up books through trial and error. I would just go in and be like, okay, looks weird, and then start digging into what was the problem. And in some cases, it might be easier to start a new QuickBooks file if there isn't like years and years of stuff you have to get through, or if there isn't data that you need to save. Like if it's just like 6 months and the books are a total disaster, then I like just starting fresh, and then I can do it correctly the first time. Okay, so that was cleanups, which is level 2. And then bill pay, I have a whole video just on bill pay. The thumbnail looks like that. It's pretty recent. So I talk about different workflows for bill pay, but a lot of times you are going to receive the bill either electronically or a paper copy, then you could enter into QuickBooks and then pay it from there. So I think that is pretty straightforward. It's not too hard, not too complicated usually. And then invoicing is the next step, the next level up. And like I was mentioning before, invoicing is straightforward, but people can mess it up, usually when they are trying to receive the payments and apply it to the invoice. If nothing weird is going on, then it's pretty easy, but sometimes like people will make half payments, or there'll be like different things happening that can require a little bit more expertise. So I don't want you to be intimidated by invoicing, but just know I do consider it like a level 2 skill as a bookkeeper. And then the other thing I included within level 2 is payroll if your client uses a payroll company. So an outside company like Gusto, or actually QuickBooks has a payroll service, like an automatic payroll service. There's also ADP or Paychex. These are all organizations that do most of the payroll, and then it's going to be your job at level 2 to put it into QuickBooks correctly, which does require some skill. So you're going to have to figure out how to sync whatever your payroll company is with QuickBooks, and then usually they'll talk to each other. Every time you run payroll, either once or twice a month, the two programs will talk to each other and they will feed into QuickBooks, but you will initially have to map, it's called, map what things go in which places. And you do have to make sure you do that correctly, because some of the accounts are going to be liability accounts, depending on what taxes are taken out. This can get a little bit tricky, so if you have any mentors or people you can ask to just double check that mapping of the payroll, then that is going to be really helpful for you and your client. All right, and then the last one is level 3. These are actually 2 things that I don't even do as a bookkeeper. So I consider them, kind of like a specialty or a step above if you really want to get into these certain tasks. And those 2 things are manual payroll and inventory. So right now I do not offer either of those services. I've just chosen, as that's not something I want to learn or specialize in. So manual payroll is, instead of hiring that payroll company to run the payroll and then you have to make it go into QuickBooks correctly, it's actually you're in QuickBooks. You are figuring out all of the taxes for every single employee, and you are figuring out all the deductions and everything, and that's all within QuickBooks. And that is a pretty big specialized skill, like you would know if you have studied that. I actually took a class that was just about payroll because I thought maybe I wanted to do manual payroll, or at least I was like, I need to get a better understanding of it. But that class made me think, oh, I don't want to do manual payroll because it was so complicated. There's a lot of steps to it. The laws are always changing, and it's easy to make a small mistake, which I feel like would kind of have big consequences in people's paychecks. So if you are a bookkeeper who wants to do manual payroll, there's definitely a niche for you, and you can most likely charge even more because you have that special skill. And then I also mentioned inventory. So I do have a book knowledge of how to track inventory within QuickBooks. I've learned that in like different trainings I've taken, but I've never actually had a client that has inventory that wants me to track it. And again, this is kind of by design. As a bookkeeper, I can choose what clients I have and choose what I want to learn and what I want to specialize in, which is a great thing about bookkeeping. But the idea behind inventory, I believe, is that it's an asset to the business. So if someone, again, has a t-shirt business and they buy tons, like a warehouse full of t-shirts, then that's a big asset that they have in their business and in their books. And so you want to make sure you track that. So then if a big pallet of t-shirts goes missing, then someone is aware of that and there's a monetary, association with that. But do definitely let us know in the comments if you guys have any more info on inventory or any good resources about people that specialize in that, or if there's courses or training that you know of about inventory. I feel like it really hasn't come up a super lot for me as a bookkeeper personally. This video is actually based on a question that came from you guys, so definitely let me know in the comments any other questions you have, or if there's certain videos you would like to see, because I'm always open to your suggestions and I love hearing the types of videos that you would find helpful. So I truly appreciate you guys. I'm so thankful that you guys leave such kind comments for me and you watch my videos and you support my channel. So I really couldn't be doing this without your support. So thank you so much. All right, with all that said, I will be talking to you guys next week with another bookkeeper video. Take care. Bye.